Welcome back, and for new viewers, my name is Hugh Evans. I am author of Origin of the Zodiac. So let's today look at the constellation Aries and find out its origin. There is the ram looking backwards, that'll be important later. And the star sign Aries is from March the 21st to April the 20th. So if you're born on those days, your star sign is Aries. And why does it start on the 21st? Well, the 21st of March is the spring equinox. It is the day of the year that has the same length of daylight as night time. And the other time of the year when that is the same is the autumn equinox. The sign of this astrological sign is fire, and the planet associated with Aries is Mars. It starts in March. In Welsh, that is Mis Mawrth, and Mawrth means Mars. The English translation of Mawrth is the greatest, and there is a video on the YouTube channel there explaining the origin of that if you want to check that out. And Mars was the Roman god of war. Aries was the Greek god of war, which is very close to Aries, as you might have noticed. It comes from ar, the Welsh word at the top of or upon, and Rhys. Let's look at our Welsh dictionary. We have Rhys, to form a rack, to set in a row. Rhy, what is specific, a chief. We have a lineage here, ancestry, parentage, and Rhys, what is broken into points. So collectively we have got a series of points in a row that is specific and is the origin perhaps. So let's put that together. Aries is the constellation at the top of a specific row of points, and that explains and describes its position as the first constellation of the zodiac. There it is. So why a ram? Well, a ram in Latin is Aries. In Greek, it's Aries. So we're not getting any more information there. We're just going around in circles, probably zodiacal circles. So let's go back a little further in time to Egypt, 1,000 years BCE, before current era. And we do have an image on the ceiling of the Temple of Hathor at Dendera that's called the Dendera Zodiac. And it represents all the constellations of the Northern Hemisphere down to the ecliptic. We're going to zoom in and we can see Aries the ram looking backwards, Taurus, Cancer, Leo. So there's the first or an earlier depiction of Aries. So in my research I've been using Ross Broadstock's Chimeroglyphics 2nd edition, and in there the Egyptian word for a ram is a hurd, and that is describes the Egyptian hieroglyph of a ram, which we've just seen on the Dendera Zodiac. So let's go to our Welsh dictionary again. Hurd, an onset, a ram. So we have a physical description of something that is well known, which is a ram, to represent an abstract concept, an onset. We have hur, a taking off. So Hurth and onset are taking off. Let's go back even further in time to Babylonia, approximately 2000 before current era, to see if they have got any information. And for this, I use Babylonian Star Law by Gavin White. And Gavin White has allowed me to reproduce his composite of all the constellations that were described in Babylonian times, and we're really using the Mul-Apin star list of round about that era to generate this star map. Let's zoom in again, and we can see the ram of Aries. There's the bull, there's Pisces, and it's looking backwards, and it's called the hired man. I wonder why it's called the hired man. Well, when we looked in our Welsh dictionary, we had Hurth, Hur, a taking off, an onset, a ram, and over here we have Hur, to hire. Phonetically, they are identical, and the Babylonians were listening to the sounds and writing them down, and they wrote them down as a hired, and this is gur, man. It is the root of grag, what curves off, grich, what is upon. So that is the first point. Again, we've had upon with R from Aries. And gregis stands out, a girdle. And even today in modern Welsh, a gregis is your belt around your waist. Greithiad, greithio, a root to originate. So the hired man is an onset, what curves off, an origin. So again, it is explaining using a physical object. It's explaining an abstract concept using the Welsh language, which is the living remnant of ancient British. But we can go back even further. We can go and ask the Akkadians in 2500 before current era. They called the constellation the farm worker or the field dweller, and this is a representation of this sequence of cuneiform glyphs. Let's have a look at the farm worker and the field dweller. So in Welsh, dech gweithio is the farm worker, and the field dweller is maes preswylio. And in English, we have form, shape, operate now. So perhaps we have a sense of starting something and having a form or a shape or a purpose. And mace means field, but it also means henceforth or to turn out. And preswylio is a fixed place. So we're talking about a fixed place that starts and something that turns. And that is why the Akkadians called the constellation the farm worker and the field dweller, and the only explanation is in Welsh. But we can go back even further. We can ask the Sumerians. These cuneiform signs have these phonetic representations. You can check that, that's from Wiki. And they have meanings in Welsh. Lw, chlw is a lion, but it's emblematic of the sun. Se is the root for lots of words, what is fixed. So seren or ser is a star. Ger, gwir, we've had gwir before. We've had a belt, a girdle in front of before. And mal mutates to mean peak or summit. So we have a start, a fixed start of something that girdles, that goes around, and we also have an indication that this might be the path of the sun, and that is what the ecliptic is, and that is what the 12 constellations of the zodiac are for. We can ask the Druids. We can go back further in time. We already know that Hwrth is Welsh or ancient British and means an onset. This is closer to the language the Druids might have been speaking 5,000 before current era. And we are told that Idris is the great astronomer, and he came to map out the constellations atop the sacred mountain Cader Idris in North Wales. So here is my book, The Origin of the Zodiac, and in it we have rediscovered the constellations of the Zodiac in North Wales, with Cader Idris at the centre, and the area is called Gwynedd, which means heaven. The star maps of Gwynedd, and here is an excerpt of the star maps of Gwynedd. The orange line is the ecliptic. There is Cader Idris there in the middle, and that is the constellation Aries on the ecliptic in Gwynedd. Do we have a name that the ancient British people called the constellation Aries? Well, in the Bardas of Olo Morganwg, there is a list of constellations. It's from the 1800s, and he wasn't very popular at that time because he was bringing together a lot of ancient British myth, and the establishment at that time did not want it shared around the population, so he was branded a forger and discredited. But let's see if his list of constellations can stand scrutiny, because it would be impossible to forge. I believe that the constellation Aries was called Nith Aries by the ancient British, and that means, or is translated, the hen eagle's nest. But in the verbal tradition, the Druids used everyday objects and easily visible descriptions to represent abstract concepts, and they would have taken great delight to name this constellation and have a very rich abstract meaning. So what could that be? Well, Nith is nest, and Nith is a spin or a twist, which would represent the sun moving around the 12 constellations of the zodiac. And an Erir is an eagle. Also means forward from, so now we have a sense of moving forward from a point, and we've already seen when we looked at the Greek Aries that res or re is to set in a row. Es, the suffix es, which we have up here, it can mean female, which is where we get the hen eagle's nest from, but it also creates a collective noun from the root. And in this sense, it represents the collective noun for the 12 constellations of the zodiac. And the ancient Welsh name for Snowdonia is Eryri, which actually may represent the hawk eagle circling around and emblematic of the constellations mapped on the ground. I would like to think that anyway. The Egyptian hieroglyph is phonetically the same as the word corn, and it is a very good representation for the ram, I'd have to admit that. The Welsh translation of or interpretation of this root word can mean a horn or a whirl. So we both have the horn of Aries and the whirl of the sun around the constellations of the zodiac. And we have Corneo is to horn or to butt, which is a starting point, an onset we've already seen. Cornog is a crown and a coronation, and in this respect it represents a start point of the sun's progress. And a corps is a circle, but also a college or a choir, perhaps arranged in a circle, creating an impression or something for people to observe or listen to or gain information from. So I hope you've enjoyed that presentation. The Origin of the Zodiac is available in paperback from theoriginofthezodiac.com and cymroglyphics.com, and there is an e-version on Kindle. The next constellation in the zodiac to be done is Taurus. So please subscribe and ring the bell. If you are a Taurian or know someone who is a Taurian, they might like to know the origin of their star sign. And please like, comment and share, because this history has been lost for thousands of years, and I really need your help to make sure that it's not lost again. Thank you very much. Until the next time, goodbye.